Chapter 3. Worship and Meditation. Swami, you spoke to us of the practice of puja, worship, meditation, continence and study of the scriptures. What does puja mean?
Puja means both external and mental worship. In external worship, certain accessories such as flowers, incense, and water are necessary. It is difficult to get these things always. So mental worship is more convenient for you. After worshipping the chosen ideal mentally, with water for washing the feet, flowers and incense, which are offered in external worship, practice meditation and mental japam. In purely mental japam, the mantram or name of the deity is to be repeated without moving the lips. But in ordinary japam, one has to utter the mantram and there is therefore movement of the lips. In meditation you should think of the form of your ishtam as effulgent. Imagine that everything is shining through its luster. Think of this effulgence as non-material and possessed with intelligence. This kind of meditation will later on develop into meditation on the formless and infinite aspect of God. In the beginning the aspirant has to take the help of imagination. Later on, when he develops his spiritual sense, he will feel the presence of the divine. Next, when he gets the highest spiritual vision, he will come face to face with truth. He is then transported into a different realm altogether, of which this world of matter appears to be a mere shadow and, as such, something unreal. The mind is then lost in Savikalpa Samadhi, superconscious vision with thought. Next comes Nirvikalpa Samadhi, superconscious vision without thought. There is then the realization of that which is beyond thought and speech. In this state there is nothing to be seen, nothing to be heard. Everything is lost in the infinite. When one attains to this state, one can bring down the mind only with great effort to the world of phenomena, which appear to be unreal. It is beyond duality and non-duality. Some persons attaining to this state look upon the body as an obstacle in the way of unbroken spiritual experience, and cast it off in samadhi. It is like the breaking of an earthen jar. Sri Ramakrishna used to give a beautiful illustration to explain the highest state of spiritual realization. Suppose there are 9 pots full of water, the sun reflected in each one. You break the pots one after another until only one is left, with the sun reflected in it. Finally even this last pot is broken. Then whatever is there. It can neither be seen nor described.
Some think of the Ishtam as the all-pervading spirit. Is this not also a form of meditation?
Yes, quite so. Everyone has to practice this meditation but only after making some progress in spiritual life, not in the beginning. The presence of the Ishtam is to be realized everywhere. He who is personal and with form, is also impersonal and without form. He dwells in every being. He pervades land and water, hills and dales, sky and stars, everything.
The scriptures speak of service to the Guru as a necessary means to spiritual realization. How far is this true?
It is necessary at the preliminary stage. But afterwards one's mind itself plays the part of the Guru. The Guru should not be looked upon as an ordinary human being. His physical body is the temple in which resides the Lord. If the Guru is served with this idea in mind, one comes to acquire love and devotion for him, which can then be directed toward the Lord. There are sadhakas, aspirants, who meditate upon the Guru in the Sahasrara, 1,000-petaled lotus in the brain, and next they merge the form of the Guru into that of the Ishtam. Sri Ramakrishna used to say very clearly, the Guru appears before the disciple in his spiritual vision. Then pointing out the Ishtam to him he says, "Look, here is your Ishtam," and loses himself in it. Really the Guru is not different from the Ishtam. There are so many practices in the spiritual life. How can I tell you about all of them? Follow the spiritual path in right earnest. When the mind becomes pure through religious practices you will understand all the truths of the spiritual world. Remember, there is no end to them. They are countless. The spiritual aspirant remains wholly absorbed in them.
If the sadhaka gets a little taste of ananda, divine bliss, he is very much encouraged to proceed on his spiritual path. Is this not so?
True, but in the higher spiritual state there is neither bliss nor sorrow, pain nor pleasure, existence nor non-existence. The Ananda that you speak of is only a help during the period of sadhana. The boat stands in need of a favorable wind so long as it has not reached its destination. But when it has once reached it, there is no need for wind, whether favorable or unfavorable. Ananda helps the aspirant in his onward course like the favorable wind. Knowledge, the object known and the knower, all three lose themselves in the Absolute. So much only have the scriptures been able to say. But what takes place after this, none has the power to describe. One has to realize it for oneself through spiritual practice. How wonderful is infinite existence where there is neither want nor fear. The very thought of it elevates the soul. There are some spiritual men who realize the absolute, nitya, as distinct from the relative, lila, divine sport. Others look upon both of these as one and the same. There is yet another state of spiritual experience, which is beyond both absolute and relative.